What is it truly you desire? Are you allowing yourself to look into that? Do you have enough courage to look into that? Maybe you simply haven't thought about it in this way. Then there's no harm. Then it's simply create that opening, that space, right? To invite that, whatever that I truly desire. Don't hide. Rise. I want to see you in the face. I want to meet you. Show me. Guide me. That's what we do. We constantly ask for guidance.
It feels like I have to sharpen my blade as well, somehow. You're always telling that we need to be smart, what to pick, and I have the feeling that oftentimes, at the moment, I lose that smartness. So to give some background, I was very privileged to have the opportunity to have a lot of time for sadhana and to really progress and take that time. And at the same time, household life got into the background, and I had that really, that gift. But I know that household life is part of this path, and of course, and I need to go back into that part as well and embrace that and take that responsibility also. And I feel at some part is that I feel there is some kind of bypassing that or fleeing in some kind of cave and taking sadhana as an excuse somehow to take that responsibility. And then there's another layer that really interested me. I don't know if that is connected, but it has something to do with the sense of I that is the ahamkara that for me changes in a way. So where to live, what job to take, all these notions of the I that I had for some time, they seem to dissolve or often now don't make sense anymore. Or when I try to grasp it, then something tells me that it's not working, and then of course there comes some confusion. And at the same time there is this higher, I don't know if it for me fits, higher knowledge or this guidance, like you said today in the darshan, the commands, and that's really strong also. And then at the same time there are patterns coming up or notions of in the mind, they want to hold on to something, and then there's also of course the fear, and so it feels like a fusion. You said in a darshan about the higher and the lower mind fusing somehow, and it's somehow stuck with me. And so this is also one point that came up with making decisions when it feels like a pot in the moment, like a mix cocktail of things. So
Okay, I hear you. So first to that, just to kind of reconfirm that it's not uncommon, it's very common when when some kind of old dreams run dry, and when we are given to spiritual unfoldment, and like in your case, when there is this visceral process, then it's not easy to re-enter, let's say, that what used to keep us occupied, interested. And so it's not uncommon that we use sadhana, as you put it, as an excuse not to perhaps tend to some of the, let's say, what you need to do in your life, if I understood you correctly, right? So sometimes it's almost to the degree, like let's say in the ashramic life, teachers used to push out, right? Ashram, it's disciples, followers, when they feel that they kind of cozied up too much in that life of sheltered life, you know? And this would be done, of course, out of, hopefully, in those cases that I have heard and read about, and out of the great understanding that this is to promote the evolution, not to stifle it. So that's kind of like a quite a well-known leitmotif. You know, people like get used to live in the ashramic life to such degree, you know, that they cannot imagine doing anything else. And in your case, and in all of your cases, there is no ashram even, right? So it's like you effectively constantly on the road and wherever you are in your domain, right? So I want you to understand that reluctance, that hesitancy is legitimate. You just need to distinguish here which part of it simply because there is some unconscious hesitation or hesitation based on fear, right? Somehow. That whatever holding you back in terms of showing up in the world. On the other hand, it is legitimate because it safeguards you from doing, or let's say from replugging yourself where you unplugged yourself. Because this would tantamount for almost waste of time. It's like there's no point that this kind of Zen proverb, before enlightenment, right, carry on water, after enlightenment, carry on water, is not going to cut here. This is, to begin with, life is very different, right? It sounds very poetic. Can you imagine going somewhere for water? Must be very picturesque. A beautiful landscape, probably a lovely well or a stream carrying water, right? It's like immediately bamboos rustling in the wind, you know, crane somewhere, quack, quack, you know, like, right? Life is cheap. Nobody asks you to pay rent. So we leave that out. But there is something else. It's like, I want you to take a look at it from most, let's say, audacious and evolutionary perspective. It's like you don't want to do anything unless it's really worth doing. And for that, you need to be courageous to open up your field for responding to the most desirous of what your heart truly wants. But to admit that, there needs to be, it needs to be some courage. We may say, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And if push comes to shove, is this really what you want? Okay, is this really what one wants? Or is it just supplementing it, these wantings, because one cannot admit oneself what one really wants? And what one really wants may not necessarily be traveling with Elon Musk to Mars or changing the course of planet, right? Becoming the revolutionary movement because Russell Brand dropped out, sold out, became newborn Christian, converted, PR stunt. Oh, we have a revolutionary. He was supposed to be Che Guevara / Jesus Christ. Now he's wearing a cross. Mere Christian. Boring. So you want to be a next Russell Brand, but we'll rebrand it, we'll drop that. You see what I'm saying? You got used to my not so tongue-in-cheek, right? It may be a desire which is very, very earthy. Maybe it's a desire which is very, very human. It may be something which is very, very simple. But you need to know that that's you truly desire that. But I want to bring this as a reminder to you and to everyone who is alive in this room, is that everything moves by desire only. Otherwise, everything is simply following the inertia. It was already shot and traveling. It travels by force of inertia. Right? Is it not so? The impulses, whatever, catapulted us somewhere because we were full of verve, full of something, full of beings. And when we came to this suddenly, and it's such a big topic in spiritual communities, how people, they become vegetables-like, right? And they don't know what they want, they don't want to go anywhere, and there's nowhere to go, and one way or another, it becomes this kind of like a placid affair, you know. That's why I really appreciate how you started. I may need to, right, sharpen my blade, right, my sword. Indeed, indeed. Who said that, you know, every woman in Japanese culture carried female dagger, female sword. It's a weapon in our language today. You'll be arrested on the street straight away because it's longer than the allowed 7 centimeter is the maximum blade you can carry. Maximum. In some countries, it's maybe less. It's not a Swiss knife. Yes, it can cut the baguette. And a chopping board with it. But what you're asking here is, what you're speaking to is, what is it truly you desire? Are you allowing yourself to look into that? Do you have enough courage to look into that? Maybe you simply haven't thought about it in this way. Then there's no harm. Then it simply create that opening, that space, right? To invite that, whatever that I truly desire. You know, don't hide, rise. I want to see you in the face. I want to meet you. Show me, guide me. That's what we do. We constantly ask for guidance. I do. Don't you think it's all figured out? No. No. In the body, all the propensities are there. Could be misled, could be misdirected, could be this and that. I ask for guidance in my own way, all the time. May I be kept guided. You see? Just maybe a little bit more examples. Yes, I went through that phase when the most cherished dreams were left behind. The whole of that, what was like, you know, someone carries to you on a silver platter, that one worked, oneself, all life prior to that, you know? And as they knock on your door to bring it in, you don't answer. Or worse, you open the door and tell them, no longer ordered. Take it to the next room. See? there were phases when I did not have a clue what, how, when. But when that flicker came, I think I've shared that before, some of you may remember. I'm laying down and I'm going to the program, and I know the best time to set intention, to materialize something into one's life, is when you lay down resting after the program, after the seating, or whatever that is accompanied. We call it seating. Right? And then the time comes, I lay down on the futon, and the time for me to bring that intention. And my head is filled with so much light, with so much bliss, that I don't remember a single thing that I wanted prior to that sitting. See? It's just vaporized. It's literally, Then I thought, I'm going to outsmart that. I'm repeating myself. Some of you have heard this. No? Remember? I shared this before. No? And maybe I thought I did. I will write it on a piece of paper. I'm writing it on a Fabriano card made in Italy. Beautiful pen. And I'm putting it right under the futon, with the corner of it sticking out. So when I lay down and I forgot all my intentions, I just I find it there, I pull it out, and I will read it to myself, to what I want to intend. So time comes, I'm laying down to rest. And the time is now to pull out that thingy and read this out loud. And I open it, and I start reading it, and I burst laughing. I burst laughing because it just doesn't make any sense in that moment. So bottom line is I can't set an intention. I can't set an intention for myself. Not that my life doesn't need anything. Of course I can have an improvement there and then, So much room for improvement one can have. London, expensive city. But when I put it all on the side and let it come, and when it came, it was as clear as the light, as clear as the day. And the first desire that came to me, the very first desire that came to me, I wanted to be back in my homeland where I haven't been for so many years. So many years. And I want to be there of use. I want to be there for purpose. I want to be there for service. Whatever, handle the details. And so, I don't remember exactly how long it took, but I received this very lucrative job in Uzbekistan in 2006 when I was invited to teach grandchildren of the president at the time, and got immediately involved in high-profile projects at the cultural level, including that whole Hastamon project, the installation of the Usman Quran, where I worked with a friend of mine from Sotheby's to create a vitrine for its display, arguing with Mufti, chief architect of town, of Tashkent. Everything, involved in all that local freaking mafia-like world. Beautiful time. Whilst having the luxury of having the company of all those TMC, the community, that I was with years before. See? How the universe functions in a most incredible way. So, that's just an example. What's important is that sometimes it's very difficult to locate where our heart is when we are in the sadhana. You see? Because these desires may be all immaterial. In a way, it is welcomed, it should be. In a way, one should desire. Whatever one desires, one gets. The interesting thing is that maybe desires at the level of material creation, in the objective sphere, we can be tricked slightly. But the ultimate desires never can trick us. Whenever the desire directed to the ultimate, only pure gold would do. That's the Quranic, God draws those close to Him, those most dear close to Him, often is said. You see? But it is added immediately, and those are holding God as the most dearest. So that connection is like this. Like this. When I went to the TMCD course, what I remember, we had to fill long form to, it's a big organization, international organization, in so many countries. So yes, all this, it's like feeling the health related, the status related, this related, and then reasons why you take it. And it was the most puzzling for me, because I wasn't taking it for any reason except a very secret one. You see? A very secret one. Very intimate one, maybe, not secret, intimate one. At some point, whilst I was busy painting away in St. John's Wood of London in my personal studio off Abbey Road, dream of artists, complete and utter dream of artists, professional studio with skylight, 2 floors, to die for. I have, this is 90s, whatever that was, mid-90s, late 97 maybe. I came across of this single line by Rumi. Single line. Out of great compassion, it was given to you. Out of great compassion, give it back. When I read it, I started shaking. I lost myself in tracks, what I'm doing, I became possessed. I ran literally a piece of paper. I wanted to write it right away. It impressed me so strongly. I don't know, something in that line hit me strongly. That part, give it back. You see? It was given to you. It doesn't say what, it's all Rumi, it's all quoted, it's all, right? It's all metaphor, poetry. Could just do, and next thing. No, it hit me as an arrow. Some scribbled it, and it was there on the windowsill of my studio, right on the altar. And I already had an altar there, with Gurudev's picture there. I folded it like that so that passers-by, visitors cannot read it. I know the content. So I fold it like that and put it there. So when I asked others, what do you write? And they're like, fantastic, legitimate desires, improvement in relationship with husband, children, complete schools, universities, improve health. What's wrong with that? Totally fantastic, legitimate, beautiful desires. Why people taking TMCD course? And I can't write any of that because I don't know what I want. I'm not doing it here for that. So this line comes to me. But I cannot write that line because nobody will take me seriously. And it's a document. You sign it, date it. You see? Do you know what I wrote? I want to see the face of God. If God exists, I want to see His face. Because that's truly coming from someone who, I didn't know how it all sits together. To me, that was the burning desire. It was fulfilled there and then. There and then. So, of course, it's very difficult for those like yourself who are of purity, because this is not something that I should there's no need to beat about the bush. I have observed and seen you long enough to know and see this clearly. For pure souls, it's very difficult to know what they want, because what they want is not in this realm made of matter very often. You see? So therefore, you need to be able to summon yourself up and delegate that to that very power that is alive in you, that leads you every fiber, to reflect back to you, show you, guide you. Even if it comes to what is there to desire. You see? Yes, I would say, if one set to the path of, one set on a spiritual path, one need to become professional. There's no place for amateurs on a spiritual path. At least not in my vocabulary, not in my understanding. I may be old-fashioned, maybe I'm a bit too stuck up in some kind of ways, but to me, I never liked amateurishness in anywhere. You're doing something, give yourself fully to that. Otherwise, not worth doing. Do something else. Choose just one thing, two things, do it properly, that's it. So why not the same as here? Yes, of course, it's good to improve life. Please don't take it personally, anyone. If you're here in this place or for this work, other work, just to improve something, it's legitimate. Do you hear me? It's legitimate. I'm not saying that's not legitimate. It's a limitation, potentially, maybe. But I do know, and I can speak, and I can relate to those who feel that way. You see? So those who give themselves to the ultimate, they need to ask the ultimate and never be afraid. That's what it means to have the courage to ask for the ultimate. This is what I try to relate. It's like, it's not all about down to the discipline. This was so moving to read when Paramahamsa Ramakrishna lost his cool, smashed the altar, had his rage, because he demanded the goddess to reveal herself. You see? It's an attitude of a true passionate lover, not some kind of busy priest, sweeping the temple, Dear priests, please don't get it wrong. Do take care of your temples, keep it clean. That's none of that. But then it comes to, yes, in this place, in this time, I'm living my Dharma. Do not shy away from asking, and you'd be surprised. You see? So hopefully this is clear. Succinctly put, have the courage to ask for the ultimate, have the courage to desire what you truly want. Not what seems like probable. Forget about what's probable. Desire. Because that's the only mover and shaker. Everything moves from this place, from the place of desire. You don't have desire? Ask, what is it that you want to be here for? Let that power give you a hint or decide for you. And it shall be granted.